Good morning, good afternoon, or maybe even good evening, depending on where you are. My name is Timothy Jones. I am IT Help Desk staff and one of the IT trainers here on campus at SUNY Buffalo State College in Buffalo, New York. And this morning we're going to be going through something of a OneDrive 101 for Windows, which is a way to save your files to a personal online cloud. Starting right at the top to cover some of the basics, all faculty and staff on the Buff State campus have a full terabyte of online file storage through their OneDrive. This amount of space makes it practical not just for everyday office tasks, but also for things like transferring files and major backups and archiving. So keep in mind you have plenty of elbow room in there, and this is really more space than some computers and laptops will have overall. It's basically like having a huge thumb drive with you that you can access anytime you have internet access. You don't need to remember to carry it with you, and there's never any risk of losing it. There's flexibility involved too, in that you can use this through a web browser directly, or if you want, you can install it as an app on the computer to basically do automatic archiving in the background without any thought at all on your part. One of the first questions we actually tend to get from users about OneDrive is basically why they should care about using it. And there's a lot of small reasons, and the first of which, and definitely not the least of which, is it's a way to seamlessly access your files on whichever computer you happen to be using at the time. That can be as straightforward as just simplifying a work from home process so you have access to all your files without needing to email them to yourself or carry them around on a thumb drive. And it's also good, occasionally when you need to fully upgrade your computer and you're having it replaced, you have access to those files right away. You're not worrying about a manual process to kind of dig in, figure out what you need, and then transfer them over. OneDrive means those are available right away on the new device without any extra steps on the old computer. It also has the added benefit of there being zero risk of data loss from hard drive failures or any time a computer is damaged and you temporarily lose access to it while it's being worked on. With OneDrive, you still have access to those files in the meantime. And the actual backup process is as simple as drag and drop to back up files and folders from your computer to the cloud. And anytime you need to pull them down, you can either manually just right click and choose download and they're right on your computer. Or if you're using the sync function in the background, it's totally automated and you're not even thinking about it. You're able to go into the normal File Explorer window, see the file you want. As soon as you double click it, it's invisibly downloaded in the background and it opens up pretty much right away. Users have several different ways to access their OneDrive. The most straightforward of these is to go to OneDrive.com using a web browser and to sign in using your campus credentials. You can also open the standalone OneDrive app included with Windows and sign in with those same credentials. Either of these will give you a drag and drop interface where you can add files and folders from your computer to your OneDrive, and if you need to retrieve them, you can simply right-click the file name and choose Download. In addition to this, OneDrive Sync in Windows 10 and any campus computers have a feature where, once signed in, your OneDrive will appear as a file folder directly in Windows, with no need for a standalone app or a web browser. Microsoft Office apps can also save directly to your OneDrive, assuming you're signed in with your school account to authorize the program. If you want to use OneDrive directly, kind of in the same way you might use a USB thumb drive to back up or restore or transfer files, it can really be as simple as just going to any web browser of your choice, click into the address bar, just type in OneDrive.com. That'll bring you to the OneDrive homepage, and you'll see the sign in button in the upper right-hand corner. You can just left click that once. That will bring us to the sign-in page where we want to put in our work email account. So that'll be our username at buffalostate.edu. When we do continue, that'll ask us if this is a work or school account, and we want to choose that option. It sometimes asks you more than once. Confirm that one more time, work or school account. And that'll bring us to our Buff State sign-in page. You can leave the username as is, but this is going to be using our 15-character or longer network account password. Just add that and choose sign in. And that will ask us if we want to stay signed in, and generally you want to choose no. And here we have our OneDrive. Now, I already have my files and folders set up in here, but I'll just actually slide this over to the right and show, for example, if we had a file on our desktop or in a file folder on the computer, you can basically just left click and hold it. That'll let you drag it around, and you can drag it into the home directory. You can see the blue dotted line highlighting that. Or for example, if I want to move this into the COVID-19 folder, I can just drag it there. It moves those blue dotted lines, and I'll just release. And as you can see up top, it shows you it's uploading one new item. And I'll just make this full size again. And you can actually click and expand this. So for example, if you're moving a large number of files or different folders, it'll give you the progress of those individual files as it moves them over. Now here it's actually warning me that a file with that name exists. And in this case, I'm going to choose to replace it because I'm updating that file. Goes through the process one more time. This is a large file, so generally this will be incredibly fast. It partly depends on the internet you're on, though. So once that's completed, it'll give us a message saying that the file transfer is done. Just right over here. And it also gives you the option to share the link, which is one of the benefits of using OneDrive as well. Whether you're on a home computer or a campus computer, you'll also be able to use the built-in OneDrive app in Windows 10 to access your files directly and send them back and forth. If you just go down to the Start menu and left-click, that'll bring up the search bar, and you can start typing in OneDrive, and it'll bring up the suggested app. You can just left-click on that. It should open it up, and it will show that we're not signed in yet, so we're going to click Sign In. It may give you some suggestions of accounts already on your computer, but just for the sake of this, I'm going to choose Work or School Account. Continue. This will bring us to the sign-in page, and we're going to want to use our Buffalo State work email address, so at buffalostate.edu. Click Next. That'll bring us to our Buff State sign-in page, and it'll be expecting our 15-character or longer network password. Choose Sign In. And then it'll start setting up our account. This will take just a minute the first time. And then in the OneDrive app, we now have our home directory for our OneDrive. It, on the left-hand sidebar, will also have options for recently uploaded or changed files, shared files that you've sent to other users, and also a recycle bin for files that you've removed but that haven't yet been cleared from the backup. On a campus computer, when you do that Start menu search for OneDrive, you may also notice a separate icon for OneDrive, which is actually the Windows Sync feature built in right in the OS. So if you click that, it'll give you this option to set up your OneDrive. So if we just put in our buffalostate.edu email address here and continue, we do not want to choose Create Account. We want to choose Sign In. And it'll ask if this is a personal or a work or school account. So we're going to choose Work or School. And that will normally bring us to our organization sign-in page. If you've already signed in on that computer, it'll very likely use that single sign-on. But if you are signing in there fresh, it'll use your network account password. It'll show you the location of your OneDrive folder. You can actually choose a different location if you want. We're just going to click Next. And it'll actually bring us on a little interactive tour, and it shows things like the different file states for the files in your OneDrive. Click Next and run through those. I'm basically going to skip through these for now, but the one thing I want to point out is on your Windows computer, when you have your OneDrive open, each file icon will have one of these indicators next to it. The cloud means online only. The hollow green check mark means that they're available on this device. And the filled green check mark means they're both on your device and have already been backed up on the internet to your OneDrive. It also gives you the option to get the mobile app. You can do that or skip it altogether depending on your preference. Choose later, and it lets you know your OneDrive is ready for you. And I'm going to open it up here, and it will appear actually right in your File Explorer. So the quick access bar on the left, whenever you open File Explorer, will show your OneDrive. If you already have a personal OneDrive, it'll show up there as well. But that buffalostate.edu OneDrive has all your files right in there. And by default, these will be backed up automatically. So any files that you want to have in your OneDrive, you can basically drag and drop directly there. I'm not actually going to move that. And as you can see, a lot of these files are only available on the cloud. But for example, if I go into this folder and I try and open this file, it will automatically, I'm going to minimize it because it's about to open it, it shows that that is now available on my local device. One last way you can actually take advantage of your OneDrive is built in directly to the Microsoft Office apps. So for example, here we have Microsoft Word, and so long as you're signed into your school email account, so you can check up here, that shows our work email account under the user. As long as we're signed in with that, let's say we were working on a letterhead and wanted to save that directly to our OneDrive, we can just go up in the upper left to the File option, go to Save As, and it will normally default to somewhere locally on your computer, so this PC maybe and everything on your computer. But up here, you'll see the OneDrive-buffalostate.edu option. And if you just left-click that once, I'll bring it back to the home directory, it will bring you to the file structure for your OneDrive, and you can save them directly in here. For example, if you're starting off fresh, you won't have any of these folders, and you can either create a new folder there, or if you do already have one, we can just click in here. And I've already saved it here, but let's save over it. You can adjust the file name here normally, make sure you have your format right, and then just choose Save. It'll ask us if we want to write over that, and we're going to choose Yes. And now it has saved directly to our OneDrive. And depending on your settings, it also gives you the option to autosave. So for example, if you're working on a document while connected to the internet, as you go, it'll automatically update those file versions online as you go. And you can always just go to File, choose Open. And this is just the same as you could browse a location on your PC, you can browse a location on your OneDrive. You can pull up any of these files on any computer that you have Microsoft Word on that you're signed in with your work account.